All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander Clash podcast. Today's episode will be brains, zombies. We'll be talking everything zombies. We have a zombie tier list. We have many, many zombies to talk about. Joined with me is Tomer, Budget Commander. How you doing, Tomer?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited for this topic because I had a zombie deck long ago and really enjoyed that deck, and I really like the tribe, so it's going to be fun.
All right. Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I've never had a commander zombie deck, but I do like zombies, and I've played a lot of zombie decks, so it should be an interesting discussion.
All right. And we got Krim, the Asian Avenger, cosplaying MODOK today. Well, what's up with that, Krim? What's going on?
It's Crimdoc, okay? It's Crimdoc, all right? And this is for the Marvel fans out there. That's all that needs to know, okay? On top of that, I had, I'm excited about this team because this is one of the first tribes I ever had. I'm talking about, like, not just a commander deck. I'm talking about, like, one of the first tribes I fell in love with when it came to Magic. Like, what brought me into the game. My friend in, like, middle school had or maybe it was 5th grade, had a Lord of the Undead. And that was, like, the coolest card to me, so...
It's still quite decent. Well, we'll get to it.
We will.
What does our tier list say about that? We will figure out if it's still quite decent.
Yeah.
So before we get into tier lists, make sure you give us a like and subscribe on whatever platform you're watching or listening on. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, etc. And also, if you want to help us out, check out Richard's Garage, where we sell zombie tokens. MTGGoldfishMerch.com. You can pick up some zombie tokens if you want. And with that out of the way, let's get into the tier list. All right, Krim, can you unMODOK yourself? It's like super distracting. You can be MODOK for the intro, but for the rest of it, go back to your normal zooming.
Fine.
I actually looked up Richard's Garage. I was going to see if we could snag that URL, but it's like a classic car collector guy that runs his own website, so lost opportunity.
Ask him how much he's selling for.
Okay. All right. So cut back in. And before we start, we are going to check our favorite friend, EDH Rec-chan, to see who the top commanders are. Shout those out and then give our own favorite pick for a zombie commander. So let's go top 10. We have Wilhelt, the Scarab God, Varina, Gissa and Geralf, Ghoulcaller Gissa, Grimgrin, OG right there, Navinral, Liliana, Heretical Healer, Narfi, Betrayer King, and Thrax Mundar. Just so you know, it drops off dramatically after Wilhelt. Wilhelt is by far like double the Scarab God, and then by the time you get to like 4 or 5, like it's slim pickings. So it's very heavily top rated.
That's so weird.
How about we start with you? What's your favorite zombie commander? What was your zombie commander deck that you built once upon a time?
So back when I started playing Commander, one of the very first decks that I built on my own, the first deck I had was the Zed Drew deck, Political Puppets Precon deck. And then the second deck that I built was a zombie deck led by Thraxamundar. And that's still my pick, like, even after all these years. Thraxamundar, for people who don't know, it's a 7-mana Shards of Alara legendary creature. It's a zombie assassin, which I think is one of the coolest creature type combinations in the game. Zombie assassin, 6/6 haste. When it attacks, defending player sacrifices a creature, and whenever a player sacrifices a creature, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Thraxamundar. So right out of the gate, you pay 7 mana. It's a 6/6. It immediately swings. Somebody has to sacrifice. The defending player has to sacrifice a creature, and it hits for 7. So you can 3-shot opponents. It's removal on a stick. And it's kind of like a really sweet, just like a threat in the command zone, that even if the rest of your game plan is not really working out, you just drop down Thraxamundar and you start hitting. And it's the only popular-ish zombie commander that gives you access to red. And there's not a lot of really good zombies in red, but there's like there's like something Thoctor, there's Deathbringer Thoctor I really enjoyed in that. And also I really like Nicol Bolas, so I had like 2 Nicol Bolas planeswalkers in there just for spice, and that was really fun. So I don't know. I don't know if it's the strongest in 2023, but it's still my choice. I just really like it. It seems so clunky, but like just having this like repeat removal threat in the command zone is so good. I love it.
There's a way better Grixis zombie commander. Tomer is so off base here. I'm gonna throw out my favorite zombie commander, and I'm gonna go full on hipster mode, but it's clearly Lord of Tressorhorn. Lord of Tressorhorn.
Obviously,
you gotta go way back to the early days of Magic. It's a 4-mana Grixis 10/4 legendary zombie that can regenerate for 1 mana, and when it comes into play, you lose 2 life, sacrifice 2 creatures, and an opponent draws 2 cards. This card's just super underrated because no one knows that it exists. Phyrexian Mundar can 3-shot. Lord of Tressorhorn, I guess, also can 3-shot. But if you pump it a little bit, it can 2-shot. And zombies like sacrificing stuff, so the drawback's not as bad as it looks. And plus, we've seen Richard make great use out of letting your opponents draw cards with Secret Rendezvous and stuff. This has that built right in. So I'm going with Lord of Tressorhorn. It's definitely not the best zombie commander, but the art's epic. It's a classic card, and it's my personal favorite.
I have to turn in my hipster card. Like my Shards of Alara commander's not hipster enough. I'll just give that over to Seth and cry in the corner, I guess.
I'm like Tomer. My first commander deck, my first ever commander deck was literally Phyrexian Mundar, but it was not a zombie deck. Actually, no, I did tell everyone it was a zombie deck. Like, there's only one zombie. It was my only win condition. Everything else was counter spells and removal. Literally all removal.
God.
Like, this is back when I played Doomblade, Go for the Throat. I also played Lightning Bolt. It was my first commander deck, so I didn't know how commander worked and like how 1-for-1s are terrible, so I played nothing but 1-for-1s because at that point I was, believe it or not, this was a spiky deck because I used to just, in standard you would win with like Pearl Lake Ancient, that's it. Aetherling, that's it. So like this was my attempt at doing that in commander.
This is why I keep saying like we're so close, but we're so different at the same time.
I tell Tomer every day he's one bad game away from being a Chaos player, and it gets closer every time we talk.
But was there a ground yard, Krim? Was there an Aphelios ground yard in the deck?
Oh, yes, there was.
Just checking.
Seth, come on.
That's plan B. That's mill him out. You gotta mill him out.
Every standard finisher was pretty much like ready and primed.
Was there the mill sword, the bad sword in there?
There's no bad. What do you mean? There is no bad mill sword. So I don't know which one you're talking about. Second off, I find it funny that DJ I'm going with DJ Scarab God as my favorite commander though. Specifically DJ Scarab God, not normal the Scarab God. Yeah, for zombies. I think DJ Scarab God is the best one. And he is a leg up on the Scarab God. For no specific reason other than his art. But I do think that like Scarab God, DJ Scarab God actually makes everything a zombie, and that's really cool.
Yeah, but what does Scarab God do for the podcast listeners?
Okay, so for those that don't know Scarab God or DJ Scarab God in this case, it is a 5-mana god from, I believe, Hour of Devastation, and it makes it so that on your upkeep, you scry X and each opponent loses X equal to the number of zombies you control. And then on top of that, you can pay 2 and a blue and a black. You can exile a creature from a graveyard. You get a 4/4 zombie token version of it. This is huge. So when you're out of zombies, don't worry, you're never really out of zombies. And you know what? You get to do all the lore and fill that in yourselves, fill in the blanks yourselves. If, like, example, one of my favorite things is like, oh, well, I turned Ulamog into a zombie. Sure, why not? A giant undead spaghetti monster. That's pretty cool. So, I don't know. The appeal for me in Scarab God is not so much because, yes, he's obviously busted and great, like, because you don't have to, like, really pay for the tax when he dies. He goes back to your hand, right? Because that's the other ability. When he dies at the beginning of the next end step, he goes back to your hand. But the biggest appeal for me is that you can turn everything into a zombie, and it really does feel like an invasion. You know what I mean? Like a horde of zombies, and it's one of the best commanders that does that. I would even argue over Wilhelt, which is one of the more popular ones. But Wilhelt, Gisa, Geralf, they don't feel like hordes of zombies are attacking you. Whereas Scarab God is definitely hordes.
All right, get out of here,
Yeah.
Krim. My choice is Ghoul Caller Gissa. She literally sacks a zombie and makes X zombies, where X is the sacrificed power. So you take Lord Trestlehorn, great card. Just feed it to Gissa. And you would make so many zombies, and you would actually get a literal horde instead of these like value 4/4 black zombies. So I actually really like Gissa. You make a lot of zombies. If I needed to throw in my hipster card, though, I would use Grimgrin. So I started playing Magic again during Innistrad, so that's why I like Gissa and Grimgrin. And Grimgrin was one of those cards you tried to make in Standard, but like kind of sucked. Still sucks in Commander, but has more of a purpose here. It has a lot of abilities. What you need to know, it's a 5/5. When it attacks, defending player sacks a creature, and then you put a +1. Just a single +1/+1 counter on Grimgrin. And then Grimgrin doesn't untap, so you need to sack a creature to untap Grimgrin. So a lot of stuff to make Grimgrin work, and then the payoff is pretty mediocre, but it's so cool. So that would be my hipster choice. Not as hipstery as Lord Trestlehorn, but
Wait. Grimgrin isn't hipster, is it? Because like,
it's
isn't
so
he
bad.
like he's...
Okay,
Look at this power ranking.
641
Look at this power ranking
registered
here. The top
text.
5 cards in EDH Rec, and look how bad this card is, and it's like up here in the top 5.
He's not that bad. Like
He's
the
a combo
main
piece. Isn't
Yeah, that's the thing. Back in the day, like even in like 2011 Commander, if you saw a Grimgrin at the table, chances are they had 1 or 2 combos. Usually it was like a Gravecrawler and like a Rooftop Storm effect, like some way to cast a Gravecrawler for free. And then you have Grimgrin on the battlefield, which is a zombie. You can cast Gravecrawler from the graveyard, put it onto the battlefield, and then you have a free sack outlet. And that was basically the combo. And then you have some sort of death trigger, like a Blood Artist effect. And it's not bad. It's not great in 2023, I guess. So, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
I'm a little disappointed that you're playing Rooftop Storm, so all your zombies are free, and the best thing you do with it is untap a Grimgrim and put a counter on it. That's a little underwhelming.
Look, all right, it's still fine. But I wanted to. One last thing was in terms of most powerful commander. Do you think like the EDH ranking of most popular kind of correlates to the most powerful? Would you say like Wilhelt or Rockcleaver, which is by far the most popular zombie commander? Do you think it's like overall the strongest? If somebody asked you which is the most powerful one in casual commander, would you say that?
No. I mean, Wilhelt, I think, is the most popular because there's a precon, right? Like, but otherwise, I don't think it's the. Wait, are you saying the most powerful?
Yes.
Yeah,
because it's the most popular.
Yeah, no.
Is it the most powerful?
No, it's not. And the zombies decayed, so.
It might be just because it's super easy to go infinite with, and it draws cards. So I feel like it's like Grimgrin, but the combos are actually like good, and you get to play Ashnod's Altar and like good cards instead of the Grimgrin jank. So I don't know. Scarab God and Varina are also very strong, but I do think this roughly correlates to power level. Like, we can argue is Scarab God better than Wilhelt? Maybe in some decks, but I do think that if you look at them, like the ones at the bottom of the list, like the Lord of Trestlehorn tier, in Acererak tier, in Iara tier, is definitely way less powerful than the Wilhelt, Scarab God, Varina tier. So I don't think it's that far off from power level, really.
Yeah,
but where
exactly.
does DJ Scarab God rank?
Scarab God makes a good lieutenant, right? Because it's a pseudo commander because it can't die. So you just tutor up and play Scarab God as part of the 99, and it does its job. Like it goes back to your hand if it dies. So it's a pseudo commander. I'm surprised Sidisi isn't here. The 5-mana Sidisi that lets you tutor on exploit. I think that's a very powerful one, and it doesn't show up here at all.
As a commander?
Yeah, you have a tutor in your command zone. Like, why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think this general ranking is probably...
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the drop-off, so 1 and 2, maybe 1, 2, and 3 are correct, and then the rest are just like whatever you want. So I think it's roughly correct.
Also, just to quickly read for the podcast listener, Wilhelt, Rockcleaver, 4-drop Dimir, Zombie Warrior, 3/3. Whenever a zombie creature you control dies, if it didn't have Decayed, you make a 2/2 zombie creature token with Decayed. And then... at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a zombie. If you do, you draw a card. So once per turn, you're getting to draw a card and sacrifice a zombie. And each time you're sacrificing zombies or zombies die, you make decayed creatures. So if you have like Astro's Altar and a Nim Death Mantle, you can easily combo off, and it's just really good value. And I think the ranking is also pretty darn good. Except I think I would bump Thraximundar a couple of spots higher. I think people are sleeping.
Oh my!
I think people are sleeping.
Thraximundar is the epitome of good in 2011
Oh,
energy.
no.
Like it is so not a good card anymore.
But you want
my
Grixis.
God.
You don't have many choices, right?
But it's
so
also-
it actually has a purpose.
Everybody talks smack about the
sorta.
7-drop until you cast the 7-drop, and then I'm attacking you for 7, and you lost your creature. Now deal with it. And it's like it's better than Narfi. Who plays Narfi? Garbage. I can't believe
Yes,
people see Narfi as more popular
A
than
mythic
Thrax.
from a decade ago barely beats out an uncommon from last year. I would give you that. Thraximundar barely beats out the uncommon.
It's
but
better than
we should
I would
probably.
pick.
Thraximundar deserves respect. Hold
I
on
know.
here.
All right.
Thraximundar deserves
Let's
that.
get into our tier list. So we've talked about Wilhelt. Okay, we've talked about Scarab God. There's another popular zombie that's played quite often. Mikaeus, Unhallowed. 3 black. So 5/5. Intimidate. Whenever a human deals damage, you destroy it. Other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. And it's also a zombie.
This is not a popular commander, though.
It is not popular, but is it not good? Our ratings are A, S+. So A for Tomer, S+ for Seth, Crim B, Richard A. So this is a lore that gives all your creatures Undying, all your zombies basically, and then humans can't hit you anymore. And it has evasion. Is this just not really good?
I mean, it's strong. It's 6 mana though. I had a hard time ranking this. I gave it S+, but in the context of zombies, I don't usually play this card in my zombie decks. But in the context of like being a generically good card that goes infinite with like Triskelion and a bunch of different things, it's a very powerful commander card. So if I was just ranking this as though it was only in zombies, it'd probably be like a B. But its overall power level in commander is really high because there's a bunch of like 2-card infinite combos that are pretty easy to set up.
I think
And that's pretty much how I looked at it too. Like it's just like it's a good combo piece. But as a zombie card, I don't know. It's okay, I guess. Like it's cool. It's like I think it's like it obviously is powerful, but it's not like I don't know. I'd rather just play other cool things than zombies. I think it's not a power level thing. If we're talking about power level, this card's obviously really good, right?
I like it in zombies just because at least the way I play zombies is I usually go for sacrifice. I go for sacrifice and mass reanimation. Those are my 2 preferences for it. And in that way, if you're sacrificing non-token zombies, if you have enough of those, then I think you basically get to sacrifice everything and they come back, so you get to sacrifice stuff twice. The only problem is it doesn't work well with tokens, and if you are a zombie token deck, then it gets a lot worse. But like, I don't know, when you pair it with something like Wilhelt or something like that, like you get to sacrifice something twice and draw more cards and make more decayed zombies and stuff. So I think it's a good playmaker, and it's a zombie.
Would you play it as your commander?
So I wouldn't play it as a commander, but I wouldn't play any mono black zombie as a commander though.
Ooh,
Like
you
even
like the
Ghoul
blue
Caller
cards.
Vigissa. I really like access to having blue because blue has a
Yep.
lot of really sweet
For
zombie
zombies or for
cards.
counter spells?
For zombies.
Both, literally
For
both.
zombies. Well, like you have Wilhelt, you have the Scarab God.
Overcharged amalgam.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of really fun rooftop storm.
All right,
I love.
You're spoiling the tier list. We'll get to those.
Yes.
But
But
I
also
had
there
a
was one more
question.
Verena. What about Verena?
Verena's
That's
Esper.
the 3rd highest.
So Verena's Esper is 4/4. Whenever you attack with 1 or more zombies, draw that many cards, then discard that many cards. You gain that much life. And then 2 mana, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. Create a tapped 2/2 zombie creature token.
This sounds really weird, but does that do enough?
It seems like a Richard commander because I get some excuse to play white, but I'm like, does this...
Like
There's not really that many good white zombies. There's some Orzhov zombies that do something, and then essentially that's it. So you're just playing it for the commander itself.
This is my second favorite zombie leader after Thrax.
really?
But
Yes,
good
because
or just
I-
favorite?
So I think Wilhelt and Scarab God are still better, more powerful, but I do like Verena a lot because it's so good at setting up mass reanimation, which is one of the one of the main strengths of zombies, I think, and it's my preferred playstyle. Like, you can just attack with a bunch of zombies. You're gaining life passively, which is nice because there's not a lot of other ways of gaining life in the zombie decks, at least in mine. But you guys do basically, like, you attack with a bunch of zombies, and you'll draw 5, discard 5. You'll get like gas in your hand and put a lot of zombies in the graveyard. That's the main thing, and then it sets up your mastery animation really easily. So I really like that.
It's like Rafine. It's like zombie Rafine. And I think that white is actually a kind of relevant color for zombies, more so than red. If you think about zombies' color identity, it's like black is way up here, and then blue is probably second, and then white, I think, would rank ahead of red, and then green. I don't think there's any green zombies. But you get some good cards by going into white. Not just zombies. There's some good drain zombies in white.
Yep.
Necromancer's Covenants in white. That's another really good addition to a zombie deck. Plus, you also can play like Teferi's Protection, enchantment removal, stuff like that you wouldn't normally get in a blue-black deck. So don't sleep on the power of being in white, I think, in your zombie deck.
I think
Spirited Companion.
The Spirited Companion, yes, to
You
draw
can
more
play
zombies.
all the ramps. You can play all the ramps, so they're like, why are you playing random knights and cats and birds? And you're like, don't worry, I'm ramping for my zombie deck.
Can put land tax in it. So good.
If you can Scarab God, the Spirited Companion, it's technically a zombie dog, right?
Yes.
So it's on flavor, yeah.
Yes. But
Yeah, so
Marina
I
feels
only
like Bloomer
Marina
Magic
like.
to me. I give it a B or a C. Like, this was something cool. I don't know when Marina was released, but it's got to be a long time ago, right? It just doesn't
I think it came out in a Commander deck, but it was at
a
least 6
pre-con.
years.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't gain cards with that plus. You're just basically looting. Or not plus, but the static. And then you have to pay 2 mana to make just a single zombie that is tapped.
2018.
So it's like it does things, but it's very muted in terms of power level. I think I'd rather get like the either Scarab God or Wilhelt if I was actually trying to do something. I don't think. I guess you can play Ondu inversion and stuff like that. Like if you want to play less zombies and more
MDFC.
good white cards, this gives you access to it. But if you're trying to focus solely on zombies, I think this doesn't really help you.
I just want to
That's
master
the main thing.
anime.
Like I
you
think
have
this
blue, you
card
can
Verena, you can self mill, and that is nice. But I don't know, like the white zombies, like Seth mentioned, are actually kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
This is not, if you're playing this commander, it's not because of the commander. Sadly, it's the colors. I think that's what I'm looking at here. Otherwise, if we're talking on power level, like you had mentioned, it's not good. I'm only playing this because of the access to white.
All right.
I'll disagree
So I have
with
a
that.
question. We roughly alluded to Sidisi, Undead Vizier. So Sidisi is a 5 mana, I want to say. 5 mana,
5 mana,
4/6.
yeah.
Death Touch, exploit. When you exploit, you can tutor for a card. So Tomer has it at A. Seth has it at C. Krim has it at A. I have it at S+. So we're kind of all over this. Seth, why are you a hater? What's wrong with
I
what's wrong
mean,
with
C
Sidisi?
is average. C is average. I think a 5 mana tutor is kind of average in 2023 Commander. It's not bad. I will admit it has some synergies because zombies like Gravecrawler and stuff can come in and out of the graveyard. So there is good sacrifice fodder. But Sidisi to me always just feels like a filler style card where it's like, I got another slot in my deck. I might as well throw in a Sidisi and it'll tutors up something better out of my deck.
You have extra slots in your zombie deck? How? I feel like that's Christmas land. What are you doing? Playing 100 and like it's like 250 card deck or something? Because
I think
I
it's
feel
like
like
the
with
most
zombies,
supported.
yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
most supported like card creature type in Magic, right?
exactly. I'm just wondering how you have an extra slot. My problem is that I have no slots, and every cut is a hard one to make.
I mean, I don't actually. So like I said, I haven't built too many zombie commander decks. So that was more like as a generic card that I played in other decks. So it's kind of just like, I'll randomly toss in a Sidisi as a random tutor. But I don't. It's a 5 mana tutor. Is that actually something that deserves to be A or S tier?
Yeah,
Like,
because
it's a
it
5
gives you
mana.
a zombie body for all the rest of your zombie synergies. And I put it S+ because I played in non-zombie decks, but it's a 4/6 death-touching blocker that lets you actually, like, not die as you tutor whatever you want to tutor up. But I think in zombies, it's like insanely cracked because it's now a 4/6 body with synergy. So, you're triggering your other zombie stuff, and then you get to tutor. Would you cut real tutors for this? would you play
Yes.
Vampiric Tutor and then
Yes.
No.
or would you play Sidisi to be on theme, I guess?
On theme,
In my zombie
flavor.
deck, of course.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
zombie deck, you gotta go flavor, right? Like this,
Yeah.
this is just infinitely better than Vampiric Tutor. Already in name is already a flavor fail. Like you may as well not play a zombie
Yeah.
deck if you're playing Vampiric Tutor in it, right? Like until they come out with Zombiric like Tutor. But this is it. This is Zombiric Tutor right here, Sidisi. So I like. Although let's not lie, every time I use this, I'm just getting whatever the rooftop storm. But yeah, this card is flavor wise perfect and on a body. It's Death Touch, so it's not like it's a junky body. This is a 4/6 beefy body that will kill anything. And yeah, like tutoring on flavor. That's what I like.
All right. So those are legendaries. There's a ton of legendaries, but we've rated them all kind of interchangeably B or C. So we're going to skip through them and move to the lords. There are a lot of zombie lords. It's one
Yes,
of the most
there
supported
are.
tribe types, and all the lords kind of do something different. So let's try to figure out what the best lord is. And one of the contenders is Diregraph Captain. So Diregraph Captain is a 3-mana Dimir zombie, 2/2, Death Touch. Other zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever another zombie you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life. And Tomer has it as A, Seth has it at B, Krim has it as A, Richard downgrading to B. Is this really the best lord we got? A
No.
3-mana lord that pings
So,
I
so
actually-
when stuff
zombies.
dies?
Okay. What do you say, Grim?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is because what do zombies love doing? Dying. This is their thing. They die, they come back, they die again, and every time they ping you, like.
But it's
this
target
card will-
opponent loses 1 life too, right? It's not each opponent loses 1 life.
Sure. It's targeted opponent, but you know what? I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue, right? You'll often be able to wither down a good enough, like a point where the whole table is low enough to where you can just like alpha strike someone out of the game. And this is this. It's weird to me because like we're talking about like, you know, cards like Lord of the Undead and all of that yada yada exist, but this one is the only one that I feel like does first off gives you the +1/+1, which is nice, but then the dying part, which is relevant because things just die passively all the time in Commander. This is always it's never just like flashy. It creeps up on you, and then at some point you realize, okay, I'm actually low on health, and it's
Hey,
because this guy does it.
And also, if you're holding a board wipe and you're like low on health, well, I can cast a board wipe, but I'll die. So you have to now
Yeah.
find targeted removal to get rid of the captain before you can even board wipe. It's like it's really. I agree with Krim, by the way, with everything he said. I think this is the best lord because the way I view my zombie decks is I like focusing on the sacrifice aspect and, like I said, mass reanimation. And this is like one of the best win conditions in the deck. It provides a go wide strategy, which is the zombie tokens, which zombies are very good at, and it provides a finisher and just like passive damage for your sacrifice strategy, which is also what zombies do. And it's also a death toucher. Like, it's not a big creature, but if it does deter big attacks, like if you're attacking with an important creature, an important creature, you don't want to attack into the Death Toucher. We've seen time and time again, like a Baleful Strix holding down the fort against like 3 other players. Like, I think this is definitely the best, my favorite zombie lord out of all of them.
All right, Seth's got my back. He has another
I think it's
card.
in the second tier. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's another lord that's better. Not that
Rated
Diregraph
higher.
Captain is bad, but yeah.
Okay.
Undead War Chief, 2 black, 1/1. Zombie spells you play cost 1 less to play. Zombies you control get +2/+1.
So for
Yeah,
those
this-
that don't know, this
So
is in a cycle.
everyone rated A, and then I
Yeah.
rated it. Wait, why did I rate it? Oh yeah, S. I rated S.
You were rated an S.
I think this is one of the top 2 zombie lords. And I think that not only is +2/+1 a really huge amount of pumping, every other zombie lord is +1/+1. So you're getting a whole extra power to your entire team. It's also a ramp spell, where it's making your zombies cost 1 less, which is really powerful. These static cost reduction effects are some of the most powerful ramp spells, because you can use them multiple times in the same turn if you cast multiple spells, unlike a mana rock or something, or a land that you can only use one time a turn. So I think this is, along with one other card we haven't talked about, the best zombie lord, though, and I would play this in essentially very close to any zombie deck, I would say.
I mean, look, I love Undead War Chief. This would probably be my number 2 because because of nostalgic reasons and like you're right, the mana reduction's nice, but I'm starting to notice that a lot of the zombies that I want to play, like they're like now starting to cost like black. And like, so the reduction every year that keeps going by, this reduction is becoming less relevant. So now you have to look at it. It's still 4 mana compared to the rest, which are 3. So yeah, you are paying more upfront. You get a little bit off later, but like, as I had mentioned, the reduction isn't what it once was, I guess, because all my zombies are cheap, black, and I'm maybe saving 1, but at the same time, I'm paying 4 mana for this dude. I don't know. This is, it doesn't do anything when things die, which is what your deck does, right? Your deck dies all the time.
Oh, well, if you want something that does things when stuff dies, my number 1 zombie lord actually is one we haven't even talked about yet, which is Lord of the Undead, which is another 3 mana lord. This one has the ability, in pay 2 and tap it, to return a zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. Everything y'all been saying about zombies being about getting things in and out of the graveyard, I agree that's very true. I think being able to raise dead, my best zombie, every single turn for a pretty reasonable rate, I rank that as more powerful than pinging 1 person when my zombies die, especially when you consider this is mono black. So one of the downsides of Diregraf Captain is it is a 2-color card, and even though blue-black is kind of like where a lot of the most popular zombie commanders are, some of the most popular zombie commanders, Liliana, Ghoul-Color Gisa, they're mono black, and you don't even have the option to play a Dimir card. So that's actually my number 1. I would rank them in that order: Lord of the Undead, Undead War Chief, and then Diregraf Captain coming in the 3rd slot for me.
So I ranked Diregraf at number 1. Undead War Chief is going to be my 2, and then number 3 I would say Lord of the Undead. I like it. I don't think the Anthem effect is super huge. Like, I think the Undead War Chief is notable because the Anthem is +2 instead of +1, and I think that's really good. But I just don't find myself activating its ability that often. If there's a very important zombie in my Gravevarn, then sure, but yeah, 2 mana is like not too much, but it is noteworthy, and I like mana efficiency, and that's why I like the other 2 anthems more. But this is my 3rd favorite. I go Diregraf, Undead War Chief, and Lord of the Undead.
All right, and then
so it seems like we all
group,
agree. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say there's more zombie lords here. I'm gonna quickly summarize them. So Cemetery Reaper, 3 mana, tap it, exile a creature card, put a 2/2 zombie into play. Death Baron, skeletons and zombies get +1/+1 and have death touch. Lord of the Accursed, you pay 2 tap, all zombies gain menace until end of turn. So we put these all at B and C. I have one shout out though, the OG Zombie Master. It's a 2/3. It's bigger than all the other lords. Yeah. Other zombies have Swamp Walk. Other zombies get regenerate for a single black. Is this not contender for actually the best lord? Because it does something actually good, which is give your whole army evasion. You're playing black, you have Urborg. You actually can get your dirtily 2/2 whatevers through combat. So should this one not be higher? Regenerate's a meme, don't bother with that. But just the swamp walking ability.
Regenerate is not a meme. It actually has corner pocket applications, and it comes up more often than you would think. And I actually think that Richard's right. So Lord of the Undead for me is a nostalgia thing. Love this card. Thought it was the coolest thing ever. But I don't think it's better than like Zombie Master. I don't even think it's better than Death Baron. I like Zombie Master. I think Zombie Master is the truth. The evasion is nice. The whole like in a deck you're going to be playing Urborg. It's really nice, and the regenerate's not bad. Regenerate's
It doesn't
not
pump,
bad at
by
all.
the way. So you're sacrificing
yeah.
the pump effect
Yeah.
for Swamp Walk.
Yeah.
But like, what's +1/+1?
Exactly. Like I don't care. If you look at the lords that I've prioritized, you could see that I would not care about how big my zombies are. Because I think Death Baron is just going to be better than Lord of the Undead because you can get Death Touch, which is more relevant than the +1/+1 to me. And then because because all your zombies are still going to be like probably dinkier, cheaper, and like not as like powerful as like a good amount of the threats on board. So I'd rather them just have Death Touch anyways. And I don't plan on keeping them around for too long, as you could tell. Like I plan on having them die soon. So I don't think the +1/+1 matters. That's why Zombie Master to me is A-okay. I think losing the +1/+1 is fine.
I dropped it to C.
Wait. If the +1/+1 doesn't matter, aren't all these cards horrible and they're all like D tier? Like, aren't we ranking these based on the fact that they're an anthem for our team?
Well,
like,
you're
none of these
trading off-
abilities.
you're trading
if you
off the
value
+1
the +1/+1
for
as
evasion,
0,
right?
all these cards are stone unplayable, right? Like, I would pay
Diagraph
a 2
is
mana
still,
2/3 that returns
Diagraph-
something to my
Diagraph is
hand.
still-
Or the
Diagraph
other
is
issue.
one.
The other issue is I think this has just been power crept. Like, yes, Swamp
by what,
Walk
though?
is nice, but we have Death Baron gives everything Death Touch, which is pretty unblockable. Lord of the Curse gives Menace, and we've gotten multiple recent cards that just give all your zombies flying, which is also another form of evasion with additional upside. So I think a while ago this was ranked higher because you didn't have all these other options to give all your zombies some form of evasion. But now there's just many options, which I think are probably that do more, I think, than Zombie Master does in 2023. So not a bad
Death
card,
Touch
but
is not evasion, Seth, nor is Menace. Like if you're trying to sneak in one creature, okay, but if you're trying to alpha strike someone, like that doesn't work. The flying one does work, but they're blue, right? So
Yeah.
you need to be blue. But having said that,
Death
we don't
Touch
have any
is
new
evasion.
lords. These lords all kind of suck, right? Like I want to see a 2023 zombie lord to see.
We have
what
one. What are you
nonsense.
talking
I think
about?
zombies have enough help, all right?
No,
They're
we
doing
do.
fine.
We have one, the blue-black one, Stitchwing, whatever, +1/+0.
God,
Zombie lords are moving backwards.
That's an uncommon card though, but I want to see a mythic of a precon that's like zombie based because like what's the newest card here? They're all pretty old and they're
Yeah,
all like
pretty
either
old, yeah.
like Diagraph Captain's an uncommon, right? Like I want to see a 2023 zombie lord and really
guess.
get something going.
Just for the record,
I-
I'm with Seth on the critique on Zombie Master. I think it's as good as Death Baron. Honestly, like the idea of you can just get Urborg and now you have full evasion. Well, you still have to get Urborg. It's a 1 card out of your 99.
That's true.
And then Death Baron is more consistent because it makes all your 2/2 zombie tokens into very good blockers, very good deterrent. And yeah, it's harder to alpha strike people with it because you don't have actual evasion, but you can easily start chipping away with your excess zombies because people don't want to trade their good creature for your random 3/3. And I do like the Anthem. It's
You're
like
also
it's not
high
good.
about zombie blockers that either A are decayed and can't block or B
Blocking?
ETB
No.
tapped.
What,
Like,
what
I don't know
blocking?
what this like defensive zombie build everyone's on about.
I would
What are you
I would be
talking
happy
about?
cutting both of these, but like I'm also happy running them. But they're definitely on the cutting board. Like they're not my favorite anthems.
Okay, let's
I
move
would
on to
say
card
Death
draw.
Baron is not a cut. Like I think you got to play. +1/+1 doesn't matter. It's all about evasion. Death Touch. I'm not talking about defensively. I'm talking about aggressively. When your zombies are meant to die, like I am sending them in, and if I get to trade with your stuff, I'm happy.
Heck yeah.
All right, card draw. So there's a couple card advantage card draw zombies. Let's start off with a standard playable card, I guess. Crypt Breaker. 1 mana, 1/1. Pay 2 mana, tap, discard a card. Put a 2/2 black zombie token into play. Tap 3 untapped zombies you control. You draw a card. You lose 1 life. Tomer at A. Seth at S. Krim at S+, Richard at S. How do you S+?
Wow, you guys are
mean,
really
you-
high on this.
I mean, this card's great. It's
Outside
like
of zombies?
this is. I would play this
Wait.
in every zombie deck.
Yeah,
I do
it's every
wonder
zombie
how you
deck,
would play this outside of zombies, though.
Okay, hold on. When I asked about the clarification, my bad. It's an S card. I thought this is just S+ amongst zombies, right?
Oh, I see.
Because
yeah,
obviously, yes, I'm not putting this in my like Super Friends deck, right? Like,
Wait, does Tomer not play this in Tribal?
No. I don't go wide hard enough. I think Crypt Breaker is really good, but like I played a lot of zombie decks, and almost all of them are like go wide and reanimation. Like those are the things I go for, sacrifice. Yeah. And you still have to have 3 zombies, like it's good. And it's a zombie itself, so you just need 2 other zombies to draw a card and lose a life each turn, and that's ideal. Like if this is a 1 mana Phyrexian Arena, then this is straight gas. And you can discard reanimation targets in a pinch as well to make some zombies. I like all these things. I just find it sometimes a little bit more clunky. I don't think it's an S. It's an A. I put it as an A. It's one of my favorite cards.
Why would you not run this in your deck? So what scenario would you not have this in a zombie deck?
I put Undead War Chief in all my decks, and it's an A. Diagraph Captain's an
Shouldn't
A.
It be an S
is like no S. Well, I thought S is like the best card for the zombie deck, and it's not the best.
If it goes in literally every zombie deck you build, like what bar is there that's higher than that?
It's just that I don't want to put it in the same ranking as cards that I feel are better. Like, right?
Wait, what's better than Crypt Breaker?
Gravecrawler.
I mean, they do very different.
I mean, they're different
things.
For me, I can see that.
If there's a card that I must have in my deck, there are cards that I put higher than it. And I don't want to put them in the same.
Crypt Breaker is like the first card I had every zombie deck.
Yeah, it fills your graveyard. It makes more zombies, and it draws cards, and it's cheap and efficient.
1 mana.
1 mana.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. I just find there's a couple cards that I find even better. Like this is more replaceable to me.
Really?
Why is everybody piling me for putting it as an A? Come on.
Well, let's keep.
It's like you're saying like I put it as like a D or something.
Let's keep piling because there's another card that I think is like the second card I add to every zombie deck to draw me cards, and that's Undead Augur, which 2 mana 2/2. Whenever a zombie dies, you get to draw a card and gain a life. Same rankings. SSS from everyone. Tomer with the A. Do you rank this similarly to Crypt Breaker then? Is it also like the same level as Crypt Breaker?
Yeah, it's really good.
To me, it's the best zombie card draw. Crypt Breaker and Undead Augur are like my 2 go-tos if I'm playing a zombie deck to be my card advantage engine.
Fine. Yeah. You know what? I'll put them both as S's so you don't have to shame me anymore. They're both S's.
We beat him down enough.
Only because I'm looking like Fellstinger, and I'm like, I don't think Fellstinger's in the same category as these two. So
okay, so Fellstinger. 3 mana, 3/2 Death Touch exploit. When it exploits, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Yeah. So like a Sign in Blood.
It's very
champion. So AA for Seth and Tomer, BB for Krim and Richard.
This is bordering a C.
This card. Really? I really like Fellstinger. Here's my argument, and then you can argue why I'm wrong. So, Sign in Blood's already a staple. This is only 1 more mana than Sign in Blood, and you're getting a 3/2 Death Touch body. Sure, you gotta exploit something, but zombies are very exploitable. You have many things that like to be sacrificed. You got Gravecrawler, so the sacrifice thing usually isn't a big deal. So this is another card that I find very synergistic in zombie decks. Plus, Death Touch is huge. It means it can do the Baleful Strix thing and take down a much bigger creature in combat. Very good defense. No one's gonna just swing their commander into a Fellstinger and trade with your Sign in Blood that you just cast and drew 2 cards with. So I don't think it's quite Crypt Breaker Undead Augur level, but this is like the next step down, the next tier for me behind those two as far as cards. I'm always going to play my zombie deck to draw cards.
This is bordering C, not because everything you said is true. It's just as a card draw engine, I look at it as a weaker card draw engine than a good amount of the stuff on here, right? Between Crypt Breaker, Undead Augur, even Corpse Augur or Graveborn Muse, right? It is definitely weaker than those to me.
That's true.
If we're rating it
That's
as
true. I'm
going to
put it as
draw.
a B. You got me. I
was leaning towards A. I was like,
it's really reliable. It's a zombie, so it has lots of synergy, sacrifice synergy. It does everything, but at the end of the day, it's just getting you 2 cards, and all the other higher ranking stuff can get you way more cards, and they will more consistently. This is the most consistent one. You just need a zombie on the battlefield, and you're going to have that very easily. Like, that's more consistent than Crypt Breaker. Sometimes you just won't have 3 zombies on the battlefield, right? But
That's a lie.
And it can always exploit itself, so you don't even actually need anything. Worst case, it's a 3-mana Sign in Blood, which isn't ideal. I'm very curious, though, like, how can this be, like, assuming we're ranking these in the context of zombies, are you saying this is only good in a small percentage of zombie decks? Like, are there many zombie decks you're not putting Fell Stinger into?
I think we have to redefine.
This.
Didn't we? Okay, I didn't make the sheet. All right, I was gonna put. I can redo the thing, but we're ranking it in the context of a zombie deck, right? So if everything's just an auto-clue, like, are we just gonna put S's for the entire podcast and call it a day?
Okay. Here's the real ranking, right? So if it goes in literally every zombie deck you build, it's S by definition, right? Because there's nothing better than it, because you literally put it in every single zombie deck, right? And then the scale all the way down to D is like, what percentage of zombie decks do you put it in, right? So A is like the majority, maybe like 80 plus. B is like 60 plus or something. It goes down like that, right? But if you're literally putting it in every deck, or almost every deck, that's an A or an S. And you may say that there's too many S's, then that might be a different problem, right? But if it literally goes in every deck, like, that's the definition of S, right? But
well, yeah, there are zombies. Then
don't
by
agree with
that
Seth
standard,
that you put this in every, like, you can cut Undead Augur, Fellstinger from decks and, like, be cool with it. Whereas, like, Crypt Breaker, like, I'm not cutting that from anything, right? Whereas Fellstinger, I'm like, I can cut it, but I still put it as A, though. I think you would play Read the Bones, you would play Sign in Blood. It is cuttable, but it's
would
still,
you?
I mean, I don't
plus
know.
you
Would
get
you
all the
play
tribal
Phyrexian,
synergies?
Arena, because it's like the card draw, but it also has zombie synergies for you to stay on zombie theme. So I think I would play
But that's the thing. Like, if we're talking, okay, I am grading this strictly on A, zombie synergy on top of it being a card draw engine, right?
Yeah.
And if it is,
well, it's not an engine. It's a one-turn draw, right?
Exactly. So let's just call it not even an engine. Let's just call it card draw. As a zombie card draw, it is the most cuttable outside of the obvious Liliana's caca card. Like that thing is just not real. Anyways, but Crypt Breaker, Corpse Augur, right? Like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing down here.
But you would cut Sign in Blood from this deck, right? You're like, I don't need one-shot card draw. I want repeatable card draw. So therefore, I rate it lower. I could totally buy that.
I think it's a good card. It's just that there's so many better options, and zombies have a lot of cards. They have one of the largest card pools out of any archetype. So I could see myself cutting Fellstinger.
Yeah, like, Fellstinger's the most cuttable. It's not like it is only 2 cards, right? So the 3/2 body, are you really hyped on a 3/2 Death Touch? Is that what we're doing? Because, like, if so, then, like, literally any of the, I would just put one of the many lords we have in that slot at the 3-drop slot. So I'm looking at this as strictly just a card draw zombie thing, and by that standard, we have so much better. We have Undead Augur as, wait, hold on, I think I did this wrong. Corpse Augur or Undead Augur is the S. I keep messing this up. Okay, Undead Augur is the 2-mana one that when a zombie dies, you lose a life, draw card, right? That's S tier. Crypt Breaker's S tier. And then we have another card draw engine that is the next card, but we'll get to it. It's a Muse of sorts, and a part of the Muse cycle.
Let's talk about Graveborn Muse, because
I gotta ask you about that.
We don't like, so we like repeatable card draw, right? We've been ranking them higher because zombies have so much stuff to choose from. So Graveborn Muse, 4 mana, 3/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of zombies you control. We all have it at A, except for Seth, who has it at C.
Yep.
How is this?
So Seth, who plays Phyrexian Arena.
I mean, what? Seth, how is this a C? What?
So there's a big downside to Graveborn Muse, which is zombie decks, especially in 2023 with Decay, can go super wide super quickly. And this isn't a May ability. This is on your upkeep, you are drawing 10 cards and losing 10 life. I used to play this card a ton. I would have ranked it higher in the past, but I found that it's actually too much card draw in life loss in some zombie decks
Can you say that?
this.
Can you say that one more time for me?
It really is too much card. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it really is too much card draw and life loss in
so
some builds with
Saffron
zombies for me.
Olive, Wheel of Misfortune
I'm a
for
change,
39
I'm a change
life.
man. I'm a change man.
You hate necropotence. You hate it.
Well, Necro, I can choose not to activate. If I'm at 9 life, I don't have to pay 9
You're not
and die
going
to
to
my
choose
Necro.
not to activate
Seth,
it, Seth.
please.
You're going to go down to 1. And then you'll
Again,
gain life just to
Saffron
lose it.
Olive.
One, it puts me to dead. Like, I literally die to Grave... You can literally die to Graveborn Muse.
Well, we were talking about like all these like sack engines.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. If you're in zombies, you definitely have a way to sacrifice it before you die,
Yeah.
or you're in trouble.
I don't know
guess
about definitely, but you have a high probability.
You should be
of
able to,
having
yeah.
it,
You do-
because
yeah,
you
you do
have
have a
things
high
like Carrion
probability.
Feeder. You have all the exploit cards.
Yeah.
So you should have ways to remove this if, for some chance, you have too many zombies but can't win the game, right? But are about to die to this. So yes, it is a downside, but I feel the upside like far.
Wait,
outstrips
whatever
it.
happened to greatness at any cost?
Seth doesn't believe
Cost
in
is
that.
death.
He believes in Red and 6.
I don't play Dark Confidant in Commander. I'll bump it up to a B. C might be a bit harsh, but it is a card that if you go to the early days of Commander Clash, I would play this as like a Phyrexian Arena in non-zombie decks because there were just not as many options as there are today. I would just play it to like draw a card and lose a life each turn. I definitely do not play it anywhere near as much as I used to. Yeah.
I like that, Seth. I like that ambition right there. That's good. I mean, no, like I think Graveborn Muse is worth it. Even I myself have been on the end of where like, hey, I don't actually have an answer to my Graveborn Muse.
Then draw
you know
into
what?
it.
Yeah, simply just draw into
Graveborn
it,
Muse.
right? Yeah. I don't know why I didn't factor that into it. Legit though, it's still just too good. It's too good. I'm sorry. This is what I mean. This is why Fellstinger is a hard C and maybe even no, it's not a D because Liliana Standard Bearer is there. But and that is only that the ranking of D is just for Liliana Standard Bearer. However, this is exactly what you want, right? A zombie synergistic draw engine that just keeps happening. Sure, for some life, but let's be honest here. Just play a Whip of Erebos. It'll be fine. It negates all the life loss anyways. I am being dead serious though. Like this is, and that's not a zombie joke because everything's dead serious in a zombie deck. But I do think that this is just a very, very, very good card draw engine, and it's zombie. It's so good.
Yeah, I might need to actually put it at S. It's pretty good. So the downside of killing yourself is actually mitigated because you have like Grey Merchant of Asphodel, Gary. Right, so if you're drawing too much, you probably will draw into Gary and like save yourself,
Or Whip.
Seriously, or Whip, right? Like there are different ways, or even if you have some of those weird Lord zombies that like when a zombie comes into play, you gain a life and stuff like that. Like there's ways to fix this, but yeah, it does require having a board though. Like if you get board wiped and then you play this is like the slowest Phyrexian Arena in existence, right?
Phyrexian Arena
really
doesn't
like
attack opponents though, and
That
this
is
one
true.
does.
It's also weird that it's a zombie spirit. I just find the card type combination weird. Like, is a spirit zombie? How does that work? Aren't those like two different types of things? Like zombies are things reanimated without a soul, and a spirit is a soul without a body. So you have a zombie spirit. This seems like a paradox.
Dumber.
I don't understand.
Then it has the full
Don't think
package,
about it.
right?
What's
It's a
the
zombie
lore?
with a soul.
What's the
Yeah.
lore of Hylas?
All right,
Don't-
let's talk about
don't think too
removal
hard.
here.
Okay, fine.
I guess board wipes. Let's start with Zombie Apocalypse. Tomer S. Wow,
S plus.
S plus.
No,
Okay.
no, it's just us. It's just us.
Seth and Krim A. Richard at
Oh my
C.
god.
Wait,
What?
no. Okay,
What
hold
What
on.
is going on?
Why?
If this is
Well-
in the removal sense, then it is an S tier zombie removal spell.
Well,
Just in
no.
general.
Isn't this like... This isn't a removal. Like, it kills humans,
mass
I guess. But
recursion.
this is not
you're right.
actually
Oh, you're
a
right.
removal
You're right.
spell.
Yeah,
it's not.
for
It's
most
not. It's not. I
things,
put it in the wrong category,
Yeah.
but we're here anyway. But
But
you guys know-
why is it a C? I don't. like if you're not running Zombie Apocalypse in your zombie deck, what are you even doing?
You're playing Living Death for one less mana.
You play both. Like what?
Yeah, but
I'm playing this. I'm
is-
playing Patriarch's Bidding. I'm playing. I mean, this is the coolest. This is okay. If I have to pick one card for the coolest card in a zombie deck, it has to be Zombie Apocalypse. Like,
Endless,
you gotta get
Endless
the
Ranks
promo.
of Dead's pretty good.
So I
Endless Ranks
have
of
the
Dead's
promo.
pretty
This is the
for
reason
from
why
when I
you
went
run
to
this.
FNF.
me too.
I really like this card, but you just play Living Death. You play
But
the
nothing.
suspend thing. You play like there's other ways to accomplish this that you don't need this specific zombie one. I guess for flavor purposes you put it in, but is it
run
really that good?
Why
Also
wouldn't you
power
both?
level too, because Living Death, Living End, all that kind of stuff, you're giving your opponents back creatures as well. So one of the upsides of this, it's just like you get back all of your creatures into play, and maybe you kill a couple of things if your opponent has a human. But I like that it's not symmetrical like a Living Death effect. So I think there is some
correct.
upside.
It's three.
Correct.
It's 6 mana sorcery. Return all zombie creatures cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, then destroy all humans. I will also point out that humans is the most common creature type in Magic. So odds are your opponents will probably have some humans, even if they're not a human focused deck. You're probably going to be killing something, but that's not the point of the card. The point of the card is to just reanimate all your zombies all at once, and that's like why I play zombie decks. I want to set up for the mass reanimation. So I'm running this. I'm running Living Death. I'm running Patriarch's Bidding. Those are my S tier cards. Like these are the cards that I will not make a zombie. I will not play. If somebody gave me a zombie deck and it didn't have Zombie Apocalypse, I'd throw it out. I'd throw it in the trash. I wouldn't even touch it.
How many reanimation spells are you playing? Because I would put Living Death
At
and
least
Patriarch's
3.
Bidding above
Yeah,
this,
three's
right?
good.
No, Haunting Voyage, this.
But then
And like-
you need to be an explicit reanimation deck, right? Like you need to be filling your
you don't.
graveyard. You can't just be naturally doing
But that-
stuff and then
zombies-
running.
You're a
Zombies, right?
zombie
Yeah,
deck.
you're a
You'll
zombie
just
deck.
naturally like. This is why I also believe the one zombie that could, like, if you wanted to. No, actually, no, yeah. The zombies will always just like naturally die. So that's why, like, three of these effects is fine.
And that's why, like, I put Fellstinger lower for cards. Like, you can draw so many cards in zombies. Like, you're drawing stupid amounts of cards. You're gonna fill
Yeah.
your graveyard with zombies. That's also why I liked Verena more than you guys, because I like these style of cards. I want to just fill my deck with zombies. They're gonna die for value. I'm gonna draw more cards. I'm gonna draw into my mass reanimation. Boom! I mass reanimate anything, and then if you wipe it, well, I'm gonna ping you to death. So, and then I'm gonna mass reanimate again. Guess what? So that's how I play zombies, and this is why
I'm gonna break the news to you. There are like zombie decks that are not reanimation decks, right? There
I don't
are zombie
understand.
combo decks.
What is that? Yeah, that
There's
doesn't make
zombie
no
token
sense.
decks. Zombie token decks is a real thing, right?
Zombie
Where you
tokens
just
is
go
a
wide with
flavor
tokens.
fail. Wait, hold on. What?
I mean,
what
that's-
is a
I run
zombie token?
tokens. I make
No,
zombie
I-
tokens
like
all the time.
Decay.
I love
yeah,
zombie
same.
tokens.
Yeah, I make zombie
Like-
tokens, but that's not how a zombie deck should work.
That's
I mean,
exactly how
okay.
zombie decks should work. You hit them with like 50 tutus, and you're like, no
Yeah.
pumping, no death touch, just 50 tutus. Here you go.
Yeah, but your
block
zombies
them.
are the ones making the tokens, no?
Yeah.
Like your Wilhelt is making the tokens. Your, I guess if you have Arena is making the tokens. Your Diagraph Colossus, like they're zombies. They're zombies
They
who
are.
make zombies. So you just bring them back with Zombie Apocalypse. It's if you don't, this is the one I put my foot down. If you don't put this in S, you're doing it wrong.
S
You're doing it
S
wrong.
is a little too much for me. Like,
Oh my
yes,
God.
I think it's a really good card, but I don't think I can imagine zombie decks that I would build that would not want it. Like, I think most zombie decks will want it, which is why I have it an A, but I kind
Flavor
of agree
fail
with Richard
F.
a little bit that there's gonna be like some builds of zombies, although like C is kind
Plus,
of an
repaying kind of living
absurdly
death are
low
better,
rating.
in my opinion, if you want that. But
What?
okay, maybe it should
Hold
be a
on, no.
B. I could go up to a B, but
No.
Okay,
A and
I
X
can
are
accept
too much.
that.
That's too much.
No.
A is borderline.
minimum.
Like, it hurts me, but I'll accept your differing opinion. Anything less than A, though, I don't understand. You just don't make a zombie deck. Just make a mono black reanimator deck.
I have
make it-
two of
make a
these in the
token.
FNF
I'm taking
promo
away.
that
I'm
I've been
taking
itching
away
to be
zombies.
used, and I
Richard.
still
You're
won't put
not,
it in the
you're
deck.
not allowed.
All right,
are you
okay.
doing?
On to real removal. That was a goof. I put it in the wrong category. Noxious Ghoul. So 5 mana,
S.
3/3. Whenever
Yes.
Noxious Ghoul or another zombie comes into play, all non-zombie creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn.
You wouldn't figure this out, but from all the S's I've given and my love for Undead War Chief, I definitely played during Scourge
You know I am.
era,
That's
Legions
an S.
era, right? Like this is an S. This is
Yeah,
an,
that's
this
an S.
is
I agree.
Okay, unless for that, I think there was one time on Commander Clash where we did like Zombie Week. Okay, and I left that in the deck. That was a terrible decision. But outside of the one time where the whole pod is zombies, this is the truth. You are literally you're like
okay. Our ratings are Tomer S, Seth A, Krim S, Richard B.
Okay, first off, what does it do? It's 3 black.
Wait, I already read it.
Yeah, we already
okay.
did it.
Whatever. The point is, this is an S. How is this not an
read
S?
it
for
again
zombies?
until you put it at least an A, Richard.
You clearly didn't understand. Read it one more time.
It's a 5 mana 3/3. When it ETBs, you're going to give your opponent stuff -1/-1. That's fine, but that's not probably going to do much. Maybe you snipe a mana dork or something. To really power it up, you're going to need 2, 3, 4, 5 zombies coming into play during the same turn.
It's not hard.
Like with a zombie apocalypse, perhaps?
Yeah.
Maybe you just discard this and some
God, you
zombies and
just
you
play
zombie
Living Death.
apocalypse?
That's what you
Endless-
wanted to do.
Endless ranks of the dead.
Run both!
Endless ranks of the dead. Come
We
on.
were also talking about how like zombies are really good at making tokens. So you make like 3 tokens
This
and
is
you just
such a
keep wiping your opponents.
You need to make a lot of tokens, which not all decks can do, right? Like you need
Okay,
to make.
so not all zombie decks make tokens, and not all zombie decks make reanimation. What are you
Exactly.
doing, Richard? What are you doing?
It sounds
What
like
are you
you're
doing with zombie
playing.
decks?
like you can
play
put
zombies in a
out
lot of
like,
ways.
let's say you're playing a Scarab God deck. You're putting like a 4/4 zombie into play. Creatures get -1/-1. Good job, guys. Like it doesn't go in that
Richard.
deck, right? You want to run it in a Gissa deck where you're like, okay, I'm making 10 zombies. Bye board. But that's not every deck. And if you're leaning on this as a board wipe, like just play Damnation, man. Like this is like a value card, but
But
you
it's
actually need like
asymmetrical.
explicit combo with it, though, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't even
and-
touch your board. It's so
Exactly.
good.
What's the black? What's the black tribal board wipe? How much mana is
Which
it?
Kindred
Vengeance?
Dominance
It's
is
3
like
mana.
7 mana.
Oh,
Seven.
Okay, and
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure you're gonna spend way more than 7 mana to get that with Noxious Ghoul.
But it's attached to a zombie.
Yeah.
It's so good. It has inherent zombie synergies in your zombie deck.
I give
You
it a
just-
B.
okay, hold.
Very explicit token decks where your main purpose is to make a lot of tokens and go wide. This card is great. In all other zombie decks, this card is pretty mid.
I would
You
say
just said
it's a
living
staple
death.
in any zombie deck. Any zombie deck. I can't imagine a
it's a
scenario you
staple.
build a zombie deck where it's not good.
Correct.
I cannot.
What about-
Scarab
That
God.
is
What about your-
correct. No, I
Draxi
played
Mundar.
on my
It's there
Scarab
on
God.
two.
Drax
Of course
Mundar.
it's good. It's even better there.
Krim didn't even play any creatures in his Thraximunder deck. How could
Okay,
that possibly be worth it?
You know the
Okay,
difference
that's-
between Kindred Dominance and this is you can just reanimate the ghoul. You can't reanimate the dominance, but it's not even a fair comparison.
I think Richard is maybe a little low on it because along with go wide zombie decks, it also is very good with Gravecrawler loops, which is something a lot of zombie decks like doing, is casting the same Gravecrawler over and over again. So I think for me that puts it as an A because I think most zombie decks are going to want it. But again, like I think S is harder than it actually sounds, and I think that there's some zombie decks that would not actually play Noxious Ghoul.
I can't imagine it. I cannot imagine. Well, it's like if you don't put Zombie Apocalypse in your deck, then I don't believe you're playing a zombie deck. This one, like, fine.
I didn't know we were gatekeeping
You're
zombie
wrong.
decks today.
Yeah. I'm about to get canceled. No, you can obviously play whatever you want. I'm building up drama for the sake of being entertaining. You can build a deck whenever you want, obviously, but I'm just saying, Zombie Apocalypse, you should try it. Give it a shot. And the Noxious Ghoul, if you don't like it, read it again. All right, that's all. That's all I'm saying. All right?
Just read it one more time.
Just read it one more
All right,
time.
I got a question for you. Murderous Rider. Is this thing playable? 3 mana, 2/3. It's an Eldraine card. It's a 2/3 life linker. When it dies, put it on the bottom of your library. You can cast it as an instant to destroy a creature or planeswalker. You lose 2 life. Now, this is spot removal, so you know Richard doesn't like it. But I'm curious. Krim, Tomer, like, what do you guys think of this card? Krim gave it an A. Tomer gave it a C. Seth gave it a B. So we're all
Richard,
over the place.
I think I am the polar opposite of you, and in that I love spot removal. I still
Yeah.
think it's still viable, So why wouldn't I want spot removal attached to a body that I could reoccur to my hand? You just mentioned Lord of the Undead. How many times, obviously this will never hit the graveyard, but the thing is, if it does hit the graveyard, you can put it in your hand, you can put it back on the field, you know what I mean? Like, I like zombie spot removal. I think you should play spot removal. I think you are doing yourself a disservice by not playing spot removal like Swords to Plowshares. And I think that I think you need spot removal. And what better than to have your spot removal be a flavorful one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good in a zombie deck, and it kills planeswalkers. So, you know what, Richard? Yeah, okay, Swords doesn't hit creatures, but you know what?
I mean, this is very versatile spot removal. It's a creature for your tribal deck. It's lifelink to maybe get back all that life from Graveborn Muse. It kills planeswalkers.
Unlikely.
It's just terribly inefficient, that's all. And then when it dies, it goes to the bottom of its owner's library, so you can't reanimate it, really. You have to, discard it somehow, right?
I feel bad agreeing and putting it at the same ranking as Richard, but I don't like it because it's not an ETB effect. It's like a totally different spell. So the removal spell, I like that it's a speed. I really enjoyed that it's speed and it's flavorful and stuff, but I feel like it lacks a bit of synergy because if you sacrifice it, it doesn't go into the graveyard. So it's harder to get reanimation strategies with it. It's not an ETB. So if you reanimate it or anything, you're not going to get the removal spell. You specifically have to if you discard it, you can return it back to your hand. But otherwise, it just kind of feels clunky. I don't know. I've never enjoyed it with the synergies that are in the zombies.
I'm extremely high on spot removal.
Super average.
So you know what? Tomer's probably right. It's a B. It's not an A. I just love spot removal, and if it's flavorful,
there's no
I love
I'm
it.
a C plus.
Chupacabra, whatever. There's no Necrotal type zombie, is there? Is Necrotal a zombie?
I don't
Fleshbag
know.
Marauder.
Cool.
There is one that's a
an
staple.
assassin.
There is Fleshbag Marauder though.
That's not. That's a sacrifice effect. Yeah. So if you
but
actually want spot removal, you don't really have any synergistic spot removal, right? So this would be
it's
your
a flavor
closest
win.
Yeah.
If you want a Doomblade and it's zombies, I think this is the way to go. But it's not exciting by any means. It's just a fine card in your deck, I would say.
It's not Noxious Ghoul, an S tier zombie.
It's no Thraxamunda. Why is Thraxamunda not on the removal category, Richard? I feel like this is a massive letdown.
Look,
Fleshbag
we have
Marauder
limitations. You can
every
only be
turn.
in one spot, okay?
Zombie Apocalypse is in here.
Yeah, that was a mistake, though. That one is a problem. All right, let's move on to just random cards. Just best cards overall. Gravecrawler, everyone has that S. Gravecrawler is a 1-mana 2/1. Can't block, and you can cast it from the graveyard as long as you control a zombie. There's billions of combos and synergies you can do with this thing.
This is probably the
knows about
best,
that.
single best and most important zombie, for what zombies want to do. If you had to pick one zombie to represent the zombie tribe and commander, it's Gravecrawler, I think.
Fair players are dying
this
everywhere,
is the
Seth. I just play this as
zombie.
a fair 1-mana 2/1.
Savannah Lions.
I don't want to
Block
hit
right
these
in there.
Gravecrawler loops. Are you a zombie deck? Sorry, I'm just a combo deck.
No, but you don't even need to loop it. It is just going to be a repeatable sacrifice engine in your zombie deck, and zombies are all about sacrificing. So it's just going to be good. And there's also a lot of there are zombie tutors that will put zombies into your graveyard, like Corpse Connoisseur, for example. And this is something you could just put into your graveyard and get the value immediately because it self-reanimates. So it has a lot of synergies. Obviously it has a lot of synergies. 1,001 combos, but you can play it fairly too, and it's still the best zombie in your deck, probably.
I feel like the one thing that you've all omitted from this is that, yes, it's a very good, we know the combos, the pingings and all of the sack outlets, but the biggest synergy that no one thinks about is how well this wears a Sword of Body in mind. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I wonder why it didn't come to my list. It's so good at wearing Sword of Cauldron, too. I'm just throwing him out there.
No memes, though. It actually wears a Dowsing Dagger very well because it's on curve.
Yes, it does curve. It actually
it's on curve, right?
It's a one drop.
It actually curves out correctly.
How many white drops did you even discuss? There's that and Crypt Breaker. So turn one Gravecrawler is the truth.
Yeah. Okay. There's another turn 1 play. Champion of the Perished.
Do you
1 mana, 1/1. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Perished. It's the mirror of champion of the parish.
Of parish.
You probably couldn't tell if I did pronounce that correctly. C for Tomer, Seth A.
Whoa.
Crim
Whoa.
B. Richard C.
I like a B or a C. I cut this a lot actually.
Yeah.
Sucks.
What's
This does
the
everything
what's the
you
human-
want with the sacrifice plan, though, is you're looping your grave crawlers with your carrion feeders. This is just getting so big. Normally, you don't want just like big creatures in Commander, but it's 1 mana. It's only 1 mana, and it's going to quickly end up being a 6/6, a 10/10, like the biggest thing on the battlefield. So I think this card's really good.
Were you on the Sarah Ascendant argument or whatever? Would you play a 1 mana? Just a 1 drop that's big? Like, do we care about this?
Yeah.
That does
This
nothing.
is
It's
just
just
like-
one.
Yeah,
It's just
this
a
is
bad
going-
pinger because it could just be chump block. So now you have to give it evasion too. Like it's fine, but yeah, it usually doesn't make the cut in my zombie decks. I'll just put pingers instead. If I want to loop Gravecrawler to win the game, well, I don't want to rely on like an infinitely large chump blockable creature. No, I just want to ping you to death.
All right. Then I guess.
And
yeah,
you've
I guess
already
it's
heard-
a B then. That's fair.
I think it's like for me, I had it at about a B. I dropped it to a C because it's true. Because like as you've heard, I don't plan on keeping my zombies around. I plan on having them die, sack, whatever. They're getting thrown into the meat grinder one way or the other, right? So
Diagraph Captain Stonks keep going up.
like yeah, exactly. And I mean, I feel the same way about its human counterpart, Champion of the Parish, right? Like I cut that from my humans deck. It's just not that good, right? Because it's just a big beater, so that doesn't do much outside of that. And Champion of the Parish is more of the same, except in this tribe, I don't plan on keeping my stuff, so it's actually like a C.
All right. Nightscape Familiar. 2 mana, 1/1. Blue and red spells you cast cost 1 less. 2 mana regenerate. Everyone has it as a B. Seth at D.
Why would you even play this? And like your
What?
zombies are base black. This is only ramping for the colors that your zombies like are your fringe support colors.
Okay, that's a good
I-
argument. Hold
That
on.
is
Why,
I-
why are you trying to ramp
All right, you got
with
me.
blue and red
okay,
spells?
look, the only Grixis is
you
like
got me.
Thrax
That's a
Mundar.
C.
This
I was
double ramps
grading-
Thrax Mundar, right? You
Yeah,
It
no,
only
I put
ramps
it.
once.
I put it. If you're Thrax
it doesn't.
Mundar, this is pretty darn solid
does
because
it?
yeah.
It does
It's
not.
only one
no,
mana
it's
off
only
Thrax
one
Mundar.
one.
But if you're Grixis, then you have more options. But yes, if you're skewing the fact that it doesn't give you a discount on black, which is your prime, like if no matter what zombie deck you're going to be, you're probably going to be focused on heavily black because a lot of the zombies are just mono black. So the fact that it doesn't help for mono black is kind of oops.
Okay, this is
But-
still BS though. Okay. So you're in Grixis.
It can
You
block.
have like no ramp. Are you not playing any non-zombie spells? You're not playing like Counter Spell, Wheel of Fortune, like literally anything else? No?
I mean,
Why would
I
I
would just
play-
play
I played Nicol
Arcane
Bolas.
Signet or Demir Signet or like why would I
Because
play
it has
this over
zombie
just a 2 mana
synergy.
mana rock?
It's as long, it could also block. It could
You can block
regenerate. itself.
regenerate.
I was
I have
grading
less
this
eye on it
on
because of Seth's argument, but it's still pretty good. I guess it depends on your deck. Like how many red
Yeah.
and
If
black
you get
blue
enough stuff
spells
that
you
it's
have.
reducing the cost of, then it's fine. But I wouldn't just jam this in a random zombie deck and expect it to be good. Like I think I'd have to specifically be focusing on those other colors.
it as a card is really good, but I which is what I was grading it on. But in a zombie deck,
Yeah,
that's actually
yeah.
where it's worst. It's
Yeah.
at its worst.
Yeah.
This might have
so-
been the greatest argument ever laid out on a Commander Clash podcast because this thing
yeah.
started off at like triple BD and now we all downgraded by multiple grades to C, D,
Yeah,
C.
that hurts.
It's actually
might have been the greatest
unplayable.
argument we've ever heard.
If we were talking about
And
generic
honestly-
Grixis decks, I would
Yeah.
I would rate this
Yeah,
very
yeah,
highly
for
because
sure.
if you have like a normal
Yes.
color pie distribution, it's really good. But if your zombies are like heavily skewed black, then it's like oof. Oops.
This is like
And
the worst.
I would like
so
to
bad, worst
point
card.
out that my argument was actually just reading the text on the card. I think was
Whoa,
my
whoa,
entire
mister,
argument.
reading
so-
cards.
No,
I'm trying to read Doctor
what
Who
the
still.
Oh boy.
Okay, Carrion Feeder. Single black, 1/1, can't block. Sacrifice a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Carrion Feeder. All A's.
Best tribal sack outlet. Yep. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
obviously you
classic.
got artifact sack outlets, but as far as being a zombie, it's the best one if you want a sack outlet.
This is
Yeah.
what Champion of the Parish wants to be, basically. Like, oh, I'm a big dumb beater. Well, this is a big dumb beater that can actually combo off, and it feeds into a bunch of synergies. It's like, oof.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Overcharger Malcolm. This one's a little surprising. 4 mana, 3/3. It's a blue card. Flash Flying Exploit. When it exploits a creature, counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. Everyone has it as B. I have it as A. It's a
I actually
counterspell,
lied
Did
to you. I
misread it?
like it as an A. No, I know what it does. Oh, I was high on it in standard. It hasn't taken off yet, and it will eventually. But I think this card is sweet. I bumped it up to an A because in a deck that can obviously play it, dude, it's a counterspell that's a zombie like on flavor. It's on flavor, and it is a 4 mana like thing, but it is it's a 4 mana 3/3 flying zombie, right? And I kind of like it. It's reoccurable. You can reanimate it. I don't know how at instant speed, but I guess I do actually like this just as a zombie counterspell. It's good. I don't know. Is this
I
not
might put
just
this as S?
So
it's
whoa,
blue.
whoa,
right?
boy.
So if you have a
Okay.
blue deck, would you not put this in? Because it's a counterspell. It's a stifle.
It's
right?
very
And
good
it's
in
also
Scarab
a 4
God
mana,
decks.
3/3
4 mana
flash
up,
flyer.
just
Like you
in
can
case?
just hold it to counter something. No one plays it. You just play it as a 4 mana 3/3 flyer and do your zombie synergy things, right?
Well,
So
this card is at its best in a Scarab God deck because if it gets in the graveyard, you can
Yeah.
reanimate it whenever.
Yep.
That's true. That's good.
The thing is, for me at least, zombies are a pretty tap out tribe. I'm not super interested in trying to pass and leave up a bunch of mana. I want to be using all my mana to be adding zombies and combo pieces to the battlefield and reanimating stuff. So for me, I think it's okay. And if I'm playing a kind of a crimmy build of zombies where I'm playing a lot of counters and instant speed interaction, then I think this card's great. But if I'm playing kind of a tap out zombie tribal style of zombie deck, I would probably leave it on the sideboard because 4 mana is just too much for me to want to leave up most of the time.
But even
I'm
in that,
same.
even in tap out, don't you want to this isn't going to be like a draw go deck. Your zombie deck will never be that, right? What it is just to prevent the big sweeper, the farewell, right? Because farewell
Yes,
hoses
but-
this deck entirely,
But
right?
then I think I'd rather be swan songing or counter spelling or mana something cheaper so I can still add zombies to the battlefield and leave up my protection rather than I'm going to do nothing this turn and leave this up in case I want to counter something. It just seems like it's too much for most of my zombie decks.
I'm
mean,
the exact same.
But if I guess it's different because my zombie deck is a Scarab God zombie deck, right? So that's the difference, right? I don't mind leaving 4 mana up because I just
yeah,
get
if
to make
yours-
zombies all the time, right?
This is a
it's great in
Your
Scarab
Crim
God,
deck
yeah.
is great for Crim.
I
was great for
play
Crim
this
decks.
in a Will Hilt deck. So you tap out until you build an overwhelming board. Maybe you have your Graveborn Muse down or whatever, and then you
Correct.
hold up the mana. And
Right
as
there.
opposed to traditional counterspell, if there's literally nothing going on, you can just play this as a 4 mana 3/3 flyer. It's a zombie, right? And it'll trick you. You know, if you have a Graveborn Muse, you draw a card for Graveborn Muse, right? It has synergies with the rest of your deck. And it's not just a counterspell; it's a stifle too, right? You can actually really save yourself with this thing, right? So I would play it in all blue based zombie decks.
It gets around Swan Song, negates, things like that, an offer you can't refuse. So that is more relevant than you would think. The creature body is pretty good. I like that.
I am not sold. I think it's very good effect, but I do not agree that you would just if nobody is doing anything, you just play it as a 3/3 flyer, because I just don't think that's that mode of the card. I don't think is impactful enough that you would cast it unless somebody's at 3 life or something, and you could just punch them in the face and win. Then sure. And if you're in Scarab God, obviously it gets better because then you can have it in the graveyard. But if you're not Scarab God, I just don't think I'm just gonna play this as a random creature. I passed my turn. I kept mana up. Nobody has a board wipe or anything, so I'm just going to cast this. I don't think that would be a very solid play. And then I have to hold that up again if I don't want to cast it.
But so you
as
only
just
do
a random
this if
blocker.
you're winning, and you're already winning, so it's fine.
Yeah, but if
Right?
I'm already
that's
Yeah.
the situation, right?
I like this card as I have a board state. If an opponent can't deal with my board state, I'm going to win the game next turn. But I much prefer it if it was just a 2 mana spell, just a straight counter spell. Honestly,
So you'd play a counterspell over Overcharge.
over this.
Yeah.
I like that it's a zombie.
And
It's
most
cool that
decks.
it's a zombie, but It's just much easier to like. You're going to be using it to secure
like
victory.
you're like all pro zombie apocalypse to be on theme and flavorful, but then you're just dumping on overcharged Malcolm and playing Swan
Give
Song.
it a B.
You're adding
Yeah.
a bird
Give it
to
a
your
B.
zombie deck.
Yeah, I don't know, Tomer. I thought we were on the flavor train. What happened, dude?
I gave it a
What happened?
B. I'm just not putting it in the A
Okay.
tier.
I got a boomer card for you guys. Someone put me out of my misery here. It's a 6-mana 6/6. It's Grave Titan.
Woo!
Whenever
It's
Grave
not a
Titan
zombie.
enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2 black zombie creature tokens.
It's a giant. Get out of here.
It is
doesn't
a
come back
giant,
with
but it makes zombies. It makes a lot of
I don't care.
zombies.
I don't
Tomer
care.
and Seth have it as C, Krim at B, Richard at A. Isn't this
Wow.
like a really good just black card? And it makes
No.
zombies.
I like it. I like it better outside of zombie decks, honestly. Like,
Yes.
I would be more likely to play Grave Titan in a, like, generic black deck or a Reanimator deck or something than I would be to play in Zombie Tribal. Like, to me, it doesn't feel like a Zombie Tribal card, even though it makes zombie tokens. So that's why I rank it kind of low. Overall power level, I'd probably bump it up to a B at least in just a generic sense, but I don't like it as a zombie card, personally.
If this was 2011, I'd be like, okay, I'd run it. But like, yeah, you have zombies that make zombie tokens. So it's like this card just got cut. It's a giant.
Wait,
It's
so
not even a
what's better?
zombie.
What's better in this like mana range?
Diagraph Colossus. Yep.
That's not
Jinx,
in this
you owe
range.
me
That's like
a
an
Cadbury
engine.
egg.
I guess at 6 mana, like it is the like Rooftop Storm. That's probably just better.
That's just
But-
a combo piece, but okay.
No. It's not a combo. Imagine just using Rooftop Storm to play your zombies. It's
Just
totally
draw more
fair.
cards. That's the thing.
In all honesty, it's. Do you want a 6-drop in your zombie deck? Like I like it. I think it's a strong card. I wouldn't be like, oh my god, that's a flavor fail, because I think it's on point, even if itself is a giant. I just think that, do you really want a 6-mana card that makes 2/2/2s when you're already okay? You have tons of things at earlier points of the curve to help you go wide. So it is just at a B. Like, this is maybe a curve filler or something like that, or a cool reanimation target, but you do have tons of things already doing this for you at a way lower cost.
All right. Diagraph Colossus, which we alluded to. 3 mana 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each zombie in your graveyard. Whenever you cast a zombie spell, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped. A's across the board. Krim upgraded to an S.
I realized, yeah, if
really
by
good,
what
right?
we were talking about earlier, like this is in every deck. This is in every
Yeah.
zombie deck. Like, there's no reason why you wouldn't play this.
If that's our
It's cheap.
grading, yeah.
That's probably right.
It's cheap. It's efficient. It goes wide. It can be big. It can whatever. You can play it on 3 with no graveyard. You can play it on turn 15 with a graveyard. It doesn't matter. It's good at all points of the game if you're a zombie deck.
Is there
That's
a
pretty
better
close to
tokens
S. Like,
generator?
it's
Field of
pretty
the Dead.
close.
No. Okay, fine.
Grave Titan.
I don't even think Field of Dead's better than this, actually, in a zombie
Field of
deck.
Dead is a land.
Probably
It
not
doesn't
in
even cost you a
zombies.
card.
Yeah, but
Although-
you're, how much land ramping are you doing in a
In my zombie
your
deck,
zombie deck? You know,
The
Krim doesn't
question
even
is
get
the
the 7
offset
mana.
of playing random stuff better than the inconsistency of your Orborg, or not your Orborg, your coffers when you don't have Orborg? I'm not actually sure on that, but it probably is not right to run Field of the Dead in your zombie deck.
you could try for flavor.
If you're like Grixis and you run every single fetch lanes, then I don't
If
know.
you're 3 colors, it's probably fine.
You can
I wouldn't
be
play
mono
that.
black
You can
if you
be
have
in
enough
3
legit
colors.
lands to turn on
I
Field, but
wouldn't.
it's at the cost of coffers, right?
Then you get the cost, yeah.
Okay, Grey Merchant. Gary, is this not the best zombie card? 5 mana, 2/4. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to the life lost this way.
This is
I
such
mean,
a
this is
good
the best
zombie
card,
Period, maybe?
Yeah.
This is probably the best.
Not-
This is the
that's
best card that I would run in other decks for sure.
Yeah.
In zombies,
It's like
too. Like, I guess so. If you're a token deck, Gary's kind of sad because you don't get anything. But if you're actually playing like real zombies, then Tomer, when you zombie apocalypse, the game is over if you have a Grey Merchant sitting in the graveyard, right?
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
I think it's even better outside of zombies, but it's very good in zombies too. Like most builds of zombies. Like you said, there's some specific builds where it's not great, but most zombie decks will love having this card. I think this is easy an S plus. Like, this is probably the best overall card, or one of the like top 3 overall cards we've talked about today.
All right, let's go to some controversial cards. Relentless Dead. Black, 2/2. It has Menace. When it dies, you can pay black. If you do, return it to its owner's hand. When it dies, you can pay X. If you do, return another target zombie creature with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. Tomer at C, Seth at A, Krim at B, Richard at C. Seth, you're very high on this card.
Why would you guys not
yeah.
play this in like most every zombie deck? Like, it's on curve, it is recursive, and it's a reanimation spell. Like, to me, this feels like everything you'd want in a zombie deck with all the sacrifice synergies and graveyard synergies. What's the argument against playing this in your zombie deck?
It's a 3
I wouldn't
mana
hear that from
Gravecrawler,
specifically
which is
Tomer,
like too much.
right?
Well,
It's super mana inefficient.
Yeah.
It's like
Really?
you just have way better options. Okay, so it recurs itself. Then you're paying 3 mana to keep playing itself over and over again, as opposed to Gravecrawler, which is 1 mana. So why wouldn't I just go grab Gravecrawler instead?
Gravecrawler is the bar, right? Like we got that, but like, what is
But,
the
like,
runner-up, right? Like this.
Well, yeah, but just what situation do I want to be spending my mana, the 3 mana at a time, sacrificing and recasting Relentless Dead a bunch of times? And then its reanimation ability is like, it's good, I guess, if I have enough mana for it. You have to pay the black to get it back, and then you have to pay the X2 to cast a spell. It's just mana inefficient. Like, there's just better recursion, and there's better self-reanimation in zombies.
So the
I
answer
don't like
is
you,
you
but
play a tutor to
Wait,
get your
what?
Gravecrawler.
I just cut this, I
Right?
cut
Like, you
this out
just
of all my
Get
decks. Like,
Gravecrawler instead of doing this, right? Like, it has to be a combo, right? Are you playing this fairly? Fairly seems ridiculous if you're going to pay
No,
X.
not even just.
I mean, you're
that's totally fine
sacrificing
to play it.
stuff. Yeah, I would just play this fairly in like, assuming I'm playing carrion feeders and like a typical sacrificey zombie deck. Like, I would just play it for value.
Yeah, and it's not like you have to pay a lot to get your zombies back, right?
you have
Like,
to pay its mana cost.
Sure,
and you have to pay
but, like-
another black to get this back if you want it.
Sure. Like I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, okay, so you pay the 1 black, and then what? The thing that you bring back.
It goes to
Right.
the
Yeah,
battlefield. So you just
1
basically
mana,
you
2
just
mana,
recast.
yeah.
You're just recasting whatever's in the graveyard, right?
But you know what's better than getting one thing back when this dies for black and whatever the creature is? Mass reanimation. That's why I'm running Living Death, Patriarch's
do it
Bidding,
all.
Army of the Dead, like or Zombie Apocalypse. Like that's
I
why
have to agree
I'm
with
so
Tomer on
much
this
more
one.
highly.
You
with
gotta
this.
have some zombies to get back, though.
Yeah.
Tomer. Like, you gotta have some zombies in the zombie deck.
But you
still,
want a
or none of
2/2
them
to
really
get
do
back, Seth?
anything.
Is this what you want?
Well, I'll list all the A's and B's and S's, and I put them all together, and you already have like 20 plus zombies. I don't know.
But but the thing
I
about
can't
that
believe y'all
plan,
are okay with.
the problem with that
How
plan,
can
though,
we-
Tomer, is a big, massive reanimation spell. You got to have a small scale reanimation package as well, right? Because the big package, yeah, it's big, it's flashy, you bring everything back, but people will be ready for that, right? And people like this is like small enough to where it's not offensive, to where like, okay, people are gonna let you just do whatever you're doing, right? Like, so I think this flies under the aggro radar in a game of Commander, and you can slowly eke out minor advantages. You can make spot removal not as good against you. Like, I don't know. I mean, this card does the grind game.
I can buy that if you're a dedicated sacrifice deck. Whereas something like Gravecrawler, like, you don't need any dedicated. You can just have like one card that combos Gravecrawler and it's good, right? So
I mean, this isn't gonna replace Gravecrawler.
Right.
Like, Gravecrawler
It's
is
on top of Gravecrawler. Yeah, it's not. It's not
I'd
as good
rather
as
just play a
Gravecrawler.
demonic
but-
tutor for my Gravecrawler. Like, I think that's the like if I'm actually doing this,
That's
like
a
I would
flavor
just
fail.
play literally any tutor to get that.
No, you play
Gravecrawler.
Sidisi.
Yeah,
Sidisi's strong.
Sidisi, Entomb, Buried Alive, like just literally anything over the Relentless Dead, right? If
It's-
that's
You're also-
what I'm trying to do.
It's so much value. It's so
Yeah.
like, yes, it's slow and it's a lot of mana, but it is relentless. It's going to keep happening every turn. Like, this is a 2-drop that's very relevant in the late game when you're able to like top deck this and get back one of your best creatures from the graveyard when you
No, 'cause
sacrifice
you gotta kill it.
Like,
You still gotta kill it though, right? Like,
well, you're
not hard.
sacrificing
No,
it.
this
Like,
is not
that's not
better
hard.
than late
Kind of
game.
a
You just
zombie
keep
thing.
chaining together reanimation abilities. Like I like on the early like I don't like honestly like I don't see myself like spending I'm spending 5 mana getting my 4-drop zombie back and sacrificing this and then getting this back to my hand, paying another 2 mana. Like if I'm doing that for a turn, even one turn, I feel like I'm super far behind. Like is that really what I want to be doing? Spending my turns on is like spending a lot of excess mana to get this to cast this Relentless Dead for 2, then sacrificing it, then getting something back for the exact same mana cost as it was, and then spending another black to get it back. Like that eats up your entire turn. Like you're not green infinite mana over here.
It's better than letting it go to waste. Like having the option to do that if you don't have anything better to do is powerful, right?
If you don't have anything better to do, you run more card draw. So you can get better things to do.
Y'all hated on Fellstinger too. We can't play Fellstinger and we can't play Relentless Dead. What are we doing in zombies?
This card's a C. Fellstinger's a B. I run Fellstinger.
Okay, I got another controversial card for you. Endless Ranks of the Dead. So 4-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is half the number of zombie tokens you control, rounded down. Tomer at F. It's not even on our scale. Seth and Krim A. Richard at C. Tomer, would you like to elaborate?
Tomer, what part of this do you not like? Because did you just try to tell people that you can't build a zombie deck if you don't play Zombie Apocalypse? What do you think this card is?
On the same level, yeah.
So this card for flavor and for the artwork is probably my favorite zombie related art in the game. So S+ for art. If you're going for an art deck, then this is big. However, this card is such a trap for zombie decks. I see it like 1,000 times. This card is very ancient. Like this is when I started playing zombie decks. I put it in my deck and I was really excited for it. I had like 4 zombies on the battlefield. That was it's awesome. Oh wow! And then I make 2 zombies out of it. And it's not even a zombie itself. It's an enchantment. So it doesn't have like inherent synergies in your deck. So if you are winning, then this card is just win more. If you are losing, this card does 0 things if you have a no board. Like if you just got board wiped, at the beginning of your upkeep, this 4-mana enchantment does garbage. And every single time I see somebody make a zombie deck, the first thing they do is they put Endless Ranks in the deck of the dead in their deck. Because obviously, why wouldn't you? And every single time, it's just a major disappointment. Either it's
Tomer,
win more and you don't need it.
Again. Read it again. Just read it again.
Yeah, you haven't read it enough, Tomer. You haven't read it
At the beginning of your upkeep, create two. What? I actually didn't even read it for the podcast, though, right? It's 4 mana.
It was just so bad.
We were just punning on you. Yeah.
This card is the biggest trap in Commander. I would say
this
is the largest disappointment.
Okay.
It is so bad.
Krim, why is this not a trap?
Tragically bad.
Card?
Okay, first off. It's Tomer. You can't ever argue Zombie Apocalypse if this is not in your deck, right? But I know that
I'm arguing for one of the best cards in the zombie deck versus the card that's going to make you sad and I'm just saving you like $1 for making it.
Okay,
for buying this.
No, dude, this card is like it is so flavorfully on point that like if you are not playing this card, I would then say you shouldn't build a zombie deck. Okay?
It's a definition of win more. It is so bad.
But zombies, what is the one thing zombies love doing, right? Like you're gonna get all your stuff back. You know, you can bring stuff back with Relentless Dead, by the way, and then you'll always have a few zombies on board. Even if you're just netting 1 or 2 zombies, that's great. It continues doing what you want to do, going wide, right? Like that's the whole point of your deck. And zombies aren't a win more because, like, even though you have a ton of things, it's a ton of 2/2s. They're not really that good, but that's the whole point. They're just they're definitely replaceable, like little 2/2s that just die, and that's fine. So oftentimes, why wouldn't even if I have a full board of 2/2s, I'm not winning the game. As sad as that sounds, unless I have Death Baron where they all have Death Touch and they swing. But
sorry, I'll make it F-. All right,
and it works. It works well with decay zombies. Like if you look at the most popular zombie commanders, Wilhouse making zombie tokens, Varina making zombie tokens, Gookcaller Giza making zombie tokens. To me, this is like Zombie Apocalypse, the enchantment version. Like the flavor is just so good. I don't think you can you can't leave it out of your deck. You can't leave it out of your deck. You have to have a really good justification to not play it, just because like it's like one of the most iconic zombie cards in the entire game. The art, the flavor, every single thing about it. Like, even if it's bad, you still got to play it just because it's Endless Ranks.
Well, if it's bad, why do you put it as an A?
For flavor.
not
the
bad.
flavor is trumping everything.
All right, I'm
Sav.
putting F for flavor. F for flavor. Perfect flavor.
So
Great
this
flavor.
card, Tomer says it's win more. I don't even agree with him. You're winning, you play this, you probably just started losing because you spent your turn like playing this card. What? In reality, this card really sucks. You don't make any zombies with it.
Card is garbage.
But I agree with Seth that it's iconic and flavorful, and I jam it in all my zombie decks. Same with Army of the Damned. It's like a very bad card, but it has like this. To me, it's like the spirit of EDH, right? Like, you know, it's trash. It's not good, but you're gonna play it anyway, and you're gonna make it work, and you're gonna work like doubly as hard to make it work. And when it works, it'll be so glorious, like that one in like 100 times. So yeah, flavor wise, great, but if you wanted to win games or like do something useful, I think the card is like actually quite bad.
Yo, you ever
Right.
play
The
like a
round
card
down
called?
card just like really kills you. Like I don't know why you have to
Yeah.
round down on top of.
It's also an
You ever-
upkeep trigger, so it's really capped. Like if somebody just board wipes in this card, when it comes to your upkeep, you get one upkeep per turn cycle. By the way, just one. It could do just 0. It just does nothing. You spend 4 mana on this thing, and it does
Okay,
nothing.
but have you ever played with a card called Noxious Ghoul and then you just make 2 zombies? That's sick, dude.
Okay, so
that's
you need
minus
4.
2,
You need
minus
4
2.
zombies on the battlefield. This is not even a zombie itself; it's an enchantment. So you need 4 zombies on the battlefield. Then your cash out on that for having 4 zombies on your upkeep. You make 2 zombies. 2 zombies. This card wasn't
Hell
even good in
yeah!
2011.
That's
Hell
like a
yeah,
Mona the
make it 2
Unhallow
zombies.
every turn for free. How can I
my
pass that up?
God.
Yeah, well,
All right.
I don't even understand how this isn't an A for you, Tomer.
I'm not saying don't run it for flavor. I would, if you want to make a flavorful zombie deck, yes, I would do it. S plus for F plus for flavor, F plus plus for flavor. But I'm just saying, like, if you think this card is good, I just want to save you from
Yeah,
that.
I would agree. It's not good. I also wonder, though, is Army of the Dead on that level for you, Richard? Because I have that as a D. For some reason, that doesn't
terrible.
hit me as iconic. I mean,
Yeah.
it's super bad, but is that at that same iconic level where
Yes.
you just, like, if you're playing zombies, you're going to play it because it's, yeah, okay.
So I will always play
I don't
Army of the
think so.
Damned. I actually really like Josu Vess, which is like
Yeah.
the legendary kicker, but
Josu Vess.
like there's nothing. You sit there and you just like bam, 13 zombies, all tapped by the way, so you can't block.
Yeah.
Right, and then you're like, oh, you dealt with it. Flashback, get 13 more zombies.
And
Right,
let's
And
13
Let's
more
see.
tapped zombies.
It was
let's
not
see.
good in like 2013 or whatever when it was released. It's not good in 2023, but to me, I would play that. Like, it's more iconic than Zombie Apocalypse, and it's more iconic than some of these other cards. Like, to me, Army of the Damned, Endless Ranks of Dead, and like Grimgrin are my iconic cards. Grimgrin is the original commander, and then you play Army of the Damned, hope you untap Endless Ranks, and then hope no one board wipes, and then you play Zombie Master and hit him. and then that's how you get that turn 15
That's
sweet
what we-
victory.
That's called Commander Christmas Land, Richard.
Yeah.
But Army of the Damned
like-
is way more playable than Endless Ranks of Damned. You
Calm
cast
down,
it, you get
Tomer.
those tokens.
Calm down.
You get
right
those
now.
tokens. You get immediate value out of it.
well,
all right.
no,
Endless Ranks
no.
of
They're
Damned, you
tabs.
cast it, you get
You
an
don't get-
enchantment that just sits
Yeah.
there and does nothing.
Army of the Dead just tells the table, you have to kill me this turn cycle. It's like, oh, I got all these tapped creatures. Bring them. Better kill
Yeah,
me
but
before I
at
untap.
Yeah, but at
Can't
least it
even block
has stuff
with
on the table. At least it makes the zombie tokens, all right?
Okay, how
Endless
is
Ranks
that
just
true?
promises you maybe getting zombie tokens in the future.
I think that card
if
is
you put 'em
only
both together-
iconic. That card is only iconic in name. I think there's a more iconic zombie to me, but maybe that's just because of when I started playing.
All right,
Which is
let's
great.
close out the cast. Each of us give our one iconic card that it's not a zombie deck if you don't have it. It's not a zombie deck if you don't have it. I already gave you
That-
mine. It's Army of the Damned. Tomer,
That
what's
we
yours?
haven't discussed.
Zombie
Oh, it could be something we discussed, but just like that
there's
one card.
What about that last category, pingers? They're all like the same, but I think it's worth considering. Like
All right, we are
Vengeful Dead.
over time for the podcast. Tomer.
They
We don't
all
have
do
time to
the-
talk about your
they
pingers.
all do
They're
the
all
same
roughly the
thing.
same.
But
This is
like,
the finishers. This is your finishers. This is why I'm saying, like, I don't care about Champion of the Parish or all that nonsense. I just want to ping you to death.
I mean,
Vengeful Dead, Plague Belcher, Wayward Servant, Corpse Knight, they're all good. They're all great.
Tomer, if you look closely, they all have about the same rank for me too. So like that's because they all do what they are redundant, right? They do what we need them to do, right? Like they're very.
Me and
good.
Krim are high on them. They're A's, but Seth and Richard are B's and C's. That's all I wanted to say. All right, we can
I got them all in the B's.
First.
If you're trying to trying to blood artist people out of the game with zombies, then yes, you should play these every time, and they're going to be some of your most important cards. If you're playing like zombie, like tribal beatdown lords or whatever, they're okay, but they're not like auto includes in that style of deck. So it depends on if you're doing the aristocrat like sacrifice shenanigans. But in those decks, they're some of your best cards.
Is okay. Like, see, I'm gonna just mention a card that didn't get mentioned and I thought was iconic, and that's Gravespawn Sovereign.
This
is a 6 mana. Like when I saw this as a kid, I thought this was the wildest thing because it's a 4 black 3/3 tap 5 untap zombies you control. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Its artwork is cool. It's everything about it is badass. This is what I thought. Like this is one of the main reasons I love zombies. This undead, whatever the undead muse and things like that. Like these are. Obviously, this is originally from Onslaught, and it comes from a cycle along with like Voice of the Woods and stuff like that. And maybe it's iconic for me because this is when I started. Maybe that's why. But like, I just felt like this is the coolest thing, right? It is a zombie that allowed you to steal stuff from other people's graveyards. I'm sure if it were made in current year, the creature coming back would also be a zombie. And I don't know. This just seems iconic. And the artwork was so cool. There's a little dead dude flying out of this one's mouth.
It's spawning it.
Yeah.
But
I think
with
this is really cool.
zombies, you're winning with like some random stuff you reanimated.
Yeah, but you stole it with your zombies.
Yeah, dude.
Their zombies went into the opponent's graveyard and dug it up for you.
Yeah,
I think it's just like
and then
power
vomited it back out.
You need 6 mana, and you have to tap 4 other zombies, including itself, essentially, from tap 5. Like, it's good, but I just think there's better uses of your cards. I still put it as B. I'll still run it.
I mean, it's definitely not like efficient for what its mana cost is, but I think if you're willing to play Army of the Damned, right? Like you can come on
for flavor. The flavor is cool. You can tell it was made. You can tell it was made like 25 years ago. That's for sure. Like it would be souped up a little bit if it was printed more recently.
Yeah,
I think this is a flavor win. This thing is so cool. Oh,
I like the art. Good.
I like the art.
Yeah.
All right, Seth, what's your iconic card?
I'm gonna go super. You know what? I'm gonna just stick with Endless Ranks of the Dead. I'm tempted to go with Gravecrawler. Gravecrawler would probably be my number 2, but I'm just gonna stick with Endless Ranks of the Dead. The art's iconic. It's just like it's the ability, even like everything about it, the design of it, of the zombies like breaking through and turning things into more zombies. Like it's so good. So for me, that's the one. The card is horrible as far as power level, but as far as flavor, it is at the top of the charts for sure.
All right, and Tomer, shall I pencil in Zombie Apocalypse for you, or do you have
Yes.
a better
Final answer. Card is like not only emblematic of what zombies is for me, but it's also I think one of the best cards in the archetype.
All right,
what
and then
about
there
you,
we
Richard?
have it. We've tried. Oh, I already gave you mine.
Yeah.
It's Army of the Damned.
Oh.
I'm gonna tap out. I'm gonna play Amulet Titan or something so that I'm gonna tap out, make 13 zombies, and that's not enough to kill someone in Commander by itself even. And then that's what's gonna happen. Maybe I just like it because I can sell Scoops zombie tokens at the merch stand.
You need 13 of them.
I need 13 of them. Better get one of those value packs.
Yeah.
You know, Richard's garage.
Tapped.
We have other
Boy,
tokens too.
But yeah, so that wraps up the zombie tier list. There are a lot of zombies. There are a lot of good zombies. So our rankings are kind of like there's so many things in S and A. But zombies are one of the most supported tribes. But also at the same time, they don't really make new zombies because they're so supported already. So I'd like to see 2023 zombies. Some disgusting lords, and give me the Toski Lord, give me the Toski Commander. Let's do it. Why should zombies be left behind, Tomer?
They're not left behind. They're literally one of the most supported tribes in existence. They have enough.
Using things like Army of the Damned from like 20 years ago. Come on, give us some new tools.
They're not left behind. They're inevitable. They're on their way. It's just gonna take
I
some
want
time.
more. I want, since Last of Us is out, I want more Golgari plant zombies. That's what I want.
Ooh, yeah.
Golgari is all about plant zombies. Let's return to Ravnica post War of the Spark, and we'll see. It's just Golgaris everywhere.
A nod to Joel and Ellie in one of the Golgari cards in the background or something.
Dude, after the War of the Spark, a plague breaks out, and now it's all zombie apocalypse, plant zombie apocalypse. The Golgari rot has taken over Ravnica. Boom! I sold it. I sold your wizards. Here you go. That's the new Ravnica theme. There you go.
Also, before, and one closing thought, Endless Ranks of the Dead, you have to get the black and white one. You got to get black and white.
Oh, there's a new black and white one?
Yeah, there's
the double feature. Innistrad double feature.
Come on, zombies
gross.
in black and white. George Romero, like, dude, you gotta. You gotta. Come on.
I like the original. I like the original too.
No,
Of course you
dude.
do.
The stained glass window colors kind of make it, yeah.
Yeah, you can't even. You don't even know what the heck is going on in the freaking art for the black and white one.
Wow.
Looks like it's lost footage from the 1900s, like
Okay.
1910s.
All right.
1890s lost footage.
All right, let us know in the comments. Do you like the double feature Endless Ranks of the Dead, or do you like the original colored stained glass Endless Ranks of the Dead? And with that, we are done our zombies. With enough brains for today. Remember, if you're not running Zombie Apocalypse, you're not running a zombie deck. Get out of here.
Get out.
And read Noxious Ghoul one more time, okay? Make sure you read it.
I'm gonna get
Yes, let's
canceled.
read it to close the cast, Richard.
We're gonna get an angry
that's a good way to
Reddit
end.
thread.
All right,
Like,
Noxious
I'm telling you
Ghoul.
how to play the game.
5 mana, 3/3. Whenever Noxious Ghoul or another zombie comes into play, all non-zombie creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn.
Amazing.
And with that out of the way, thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week. See you.
How's that not an S?